I want to give you the opportunity to hear from a survivor. I would like to call up Kelly Nelson right now, and just an amazing story. I'm going to let her tell you this, but Kelly almost died, and she told me that even after her husband nearly killed her, she never would have left him if he hadn't taken his own life. And that's the victimization that we witness. And she's going to tell you a little bit about how she got strength and how she learned to overcome and stand strong, because that's what tonight's about. It's about taking victims and turning them into survivors, turning them into victors, and showing them that we love them and giving them strength. So come on up, Kelly, wherever you are.
Hello. Thank you, Danielle. So good to be here. My name is Kelly. In 2007, I was a wife, a mother, a registered nurse. I was also a victim of domestic violence. Victim was never a word I thought I would use to describe myself. I hated that word, actually, because my husband at the time used that word and called me the victim. Quit playing the victim role, Kelly. You're not the victim. Well, February 12th, 2007, I became his victim. And I remember like it was yesterday. I had gone for an appointment. My 2-year-old at the time was with my sister. She was babysitting. And after I was finished, I got home to my sister's, and my daughter was sleeping. You don't wake a sleeping 2-year-old. So she slept, and we hung out, and that was my first mistake. He was pissed. I took time away from the family, and I shouldn't have been there. And I didn't agree. We fought. The fighting went on all night long into the next day. And I was spent, but what do you do? And it was Sunday morning. I took a shower, got out of the shower. He was waiting for me. Wasn't finished with the fight. It continued on, and he had shoved me onto the bed. And I was done, and I said, I'm calling the police. I'm not doing this. And when I went to get up, he stood up, and I was wearing a bathrobe, and the belt to my bathrobe fell. And when I got up, he grabbed the belt, and he wrapped it around my throat. And he looked at me and said, I'm not going back to jail. This is my only option. And he started to strangle me. And all I knew was that I could not get that belt, my fingers between my neck and that belt. And I thought, oh my God, he's gonna kill me. And so I did the only thing I knew to do, which was play dead. So I pretended to pass out, and that's why I'm here today, because he continued to strangle me until I did pass out, and he didn't stop until he thought I was dead. I woke up, he was on top of me. I was able to get out and get into a bathroom where he kept me locked in there for an hour because he didn't trust me not to call the police. So he finally let me out and kissed our daughter goodbye and left. And I actually never saw him again because after he left, he bought a shotgun, rented a hotel room, and killed himself. And so I was 29 years old with a 2-year-old and a widow. Oh, and I was a victim too. And it wasn't until this female shoreline police officer said to me, after I had been notified of his death, and she said to me, Kelly, Eric is not the victim. You are. And for the first time in my life, that word didn't sound so awful. Even though he was gone, I didn't know what to do, so I went to a domestic violence support group. And I went there every Wednesday for years because I didn't know I was in an abusive relationship. How was I going to make sure I didn't get into another one? And they taught me a lot. I had my own advocate. They taught me what a healthy relationship looks like. They taught me warning signs. There were so many warning signs that I ignored. I didn't listen to my gut. And I know now, your gut is not wrong. So going forward, I met Lauren Grinnell a couple years ago. We hit it off immediately, and she asked me to speak at Runway to Freedom 5. I did, and life's a lot different now. I've met the most incredible people since I spoke last. Domestic violence survivors, domestic violence supporters. The love that I've gotten from it. And knowing that it's not just me, because I had no idea about this epidemic, which is exactly what it is. They don't teach you that in school. They don't teach you that hitting isn't okay, or, they don't teach you that stuff. And so where do you learn it? You learn it from places like Mary's Place, Runway to Freedom. I stood up here 2 years ago on a stage just like this and said I didn't know why I survived that night. And I can't say that now. 2 years later, I survived because this is what I was meant to do. I got some of the most important tools from places like Mary's Place and Runway to Freedom. And that's a gift that I can give to other people. So today, today, I get to have friends, and I see my friends. I didn't have that when I was married the first time. I can wear things around my neck, and that took a really long time. I was able to learn about these healthy relationships, and I met the love of my life. Who knew you could find that on Tinder? We were married 6 months ago and are raising our 2 girls together. And Chris is everything that my abuser wasn't. And he supports me and he loves me. And he's pretty great. I just would like to invite people who have been victims of domestic violence or survivors. I'm still not a fan of that word because we're not victims. We've freaking survived, So I would just like to invite everybody who has, if you're comfortable, been a victim of domestic violence to stand. And now I would like everybody who knows somebody who's been a victim of domestic violence to stand. I think that most of us are standing. It's not okay. This clearly shows it's an epidemic. And I can tell you that every single one of you in this room has made a difference to ending this epidemic. And I am so incredibly grateful, and thank you so much for being here.
It takes a lot of courage to do what Kelly did. Let's give her another round.